kitty, 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 kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Oh, there y'all are. Oh, come on, Spooky. What's going on with you? It's New Year's Eve. Yeah, you're just gonna come lazily walking up. I guess you don't want no treats. Come on over to your plate. Let's give you some. There you go. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, my kitty crew. And there they are, enjoying their afternoon treats. The kitty crew. Whew, and it's turned out to be a very nice day. But the sun's getting low. And the temperature's falling again. It got up to a whole 61 today. Yes, it did. It's the end of the year, and we made it all through. So hey, what better way to end this year than take a ride in Alice and talk about what happened all this year and our hopes and desires for the new year to come. Or at least how I start every year off. Let me know how you do too. Oh, there you are, friends and family. So good to see you again on this Sunday, December the 31st, 2023. And yeah, Mr. Tom made it through, and I see all of you did too, now along the way. I'm sadly going to say we lost a few spouses, friends, and family. And that's always sad. It makes this time of year all the more tougher for all of us too. But hey, if you'd like to, Alice is raring to go. The sun's getting low, and I thought we'd all jump in and buckle up. Plenty of room in Alice for a few thousand. There's always room in the rumble seat, aka the trunk. So if you'd like to, come along with me. Be nice, don't argue and fight. Bring the snacks you want, and let's take a ride in the countryside and talk a little bit. Well, let's head her on down the highway and see what's going on. It's winter time in the deep south. Woo! Sky's getting overcast. But it has been a beautiful day. We've been out enjoying some time with the kitty crew and our feathered friends. Filled up their feeders, and the cardinals and the blue jays, all of our little birdies from sparrows to house thrushes and chickadees and what have you are all doing fine. I wanted to make sure they had plenty of food to start this new year off too. I'm hoping you're feeding the birds if you have an opportunity and can still afford to. That's becoming a challenge as well. Yep, 2023 brought a lot of changes in my life, and from reading the comments, I know it brought a lot of changes for all of you. But you know, we haven't taken a ride in a while, and I thought, let's do it today while we still can. Gas prices are still fairly low. Not as low as they've been in recent memory, but at least they didn't wind up where many said. Because many said that we might see $10 a gallon. Or so they claimed by the end of 2023. And thankfully, that never came. But yeah, you'll see, here in the deep south, most of the leaves have now finally fallen away. And if you look closely up in the tops of those oak trees, you'll still see a lot of green course, that is mistletoe growing on the limbs of the old oak trees. So yeah, I wanted to take a ride and reflect on the events of this year in my life. And maybe in the comments below the video, you'll let me know what big events and reflections you have on the year we all just came through. And there was a time this year in my life that it was questionable if I would have made it through. As all of you know, have been with our channel for any time, I had a extremely life-threatening event happen. It was such a simple thing that we all do. Walk in the yard. Yeah. And there was a limb down from the wind. It caught my foot. I tripped. And then I fell straight down on my chest. But of all things, there was a little stub from some brush that we'd cut down around the old oak tree. And it broke a couple of ribs, punctured and lacerated my left lung. Yeah. And if I wouldn't have made the decision to drive myself there, which was risky, I might add, yeah, some say it wasn't a good choice. But as it turned out, if I'd waited for the ambulance, I wouldn't be here to celebrate the end of this year and the beginning of a new one, 2024. Because when I drove by the ambulance station, the ambulance was out on a run. And like I say, I know from reading the comments, many of you have had new things pop up in your life, medical conditions, loss of a spouse, family member, or a dear friend. See, we all have challenges that come our way every year. Ooh, there's Superfoods. You know, that's our favorite place to shop. And I'm thinking we'll be seeing much more of Superfoods in the coming new year. I know y'all like to come along and ride in the buggy and shop with old Mr. Tom. Yep, you do. And I like bringing you along. We're going to put old Alice in overdrive. Yeah, she's got a 5-speed. She might not be a sports car, but she can get up and run with the best, if she wants to. And this year, here in the Deep South, other than my personal apocalypse, and that's just what that event was, where I tripped and fell and punctured my lung, and that's something I often touch on. You don't got to wait for that big SHTF event, nuclear war or apocalypse. You can have one of your very own at any time. Job loss, accident, major health condition, job loss. Yeah, they come in all forms. And they may not affect the entire world. Maybe it's just you. Or maybe it's regional. Or very local. Like a tornado that destroys your neighborhood. We'll go on down here, because it's been a while. Come on, Alice, we're going to let you run. Woo! She likes it when she can zip. But the point of the ride is, we've all made it through this year. Maybe some of you are better off than you were the year before. Maybe not as well as you were in 2022. And what have we seen this year? Well, many of you are going to say much the same from 2022. Yeah, we've seen more inflation. Prices have increased on everything, from electric to food to fuel, insurances, medical costs, rents, just to name very few. Yep, prices have kept rising. They slowed down a little bit, but they're still on an upward trend. And that's never a good thing, especially, if you're disabled, low income, the working poor, or like many of us here, seniors living on fixed incomes too. And, we say a fixed income. That can be everything from, your primary income every month is Social Security, which, I depend on that too. Or it can be from annuity, or, just interest on savings or investments. Thankfully, with inflation, the only uptick is if you do have any money in the bank. The interest rates have finally got back more decent again. Of course, it doesn't make up for the rise in cost. It never does. But you got to sometimes, there's two ways to focus on life, in my mind. You can focus on all the bad, or you can focus on the good. And what I've learned since the advent of social media is, for whatever reason, people flock to the bad. I guess that's why news channels are so popular. Of course, you'll never see, one of those news channels featuring all good time stories. They're not to be found. Yeah, people like to watch little kiddies. It warms their heart. But everything now is just a major event. In the news, both mainstream and social, always talk it up, spectacularizing. Of course, that's the way media has always been. Remember our newspapers sensationalizing headlines, our magazines too? Yeah, it's not a new thing. It's been around a long, long time, and now with everybody with a camera and a phone, every little thing, no matter how local or regional it is, it seems like they're all made out to make it like it's going to affect the entire world. I'm so tired of hearing, because one area is impacted by this, it's coming our way too. Well, I've learned over the 67 years of my life now, that is not always true. It may or may not, depending on the circumstance and what's going on. Now, in the state I live in, people will say, whatever happens in California is coming our way. Well, in all truth, some of it does. But see, that's the one beauty of the U.S. that we often forget about. The federal government learned about this again in 2020 and 2021. Under our Constitution, our states have rights. They do have some autonomy from what the federal government tries to lay down for all the states in the U.S. of A. And in the state I live in, many times, thankfully, Alabama just says, no thank you. So I guess it all depends on where you live. If what's happening in one state's going to directly impact you. maybe you also in the comments below, let me know what the weather's like, how your winter's going. If you remember the winter of 2022 and 2023, now we're in the winter of 2023-2024. Y'all remember, there for a period of time, especially mid-December through January and February, our winter here in the deep south of Alabama was one of the coldest in my memory. Remember that Arctic blast that hit the country and was especially devastating to the south? You probably all remember the stories of our water mains freezing, all the pipes in our house. I mean, there must have been billions of pipes that broke and burst. Cities all around me ran out of water too. You know, we get to all talking. Old Mr. Tom like to blew right through that stop sign. Thankfully, one of you tapped me on the head. Yes, you did. But back to the Arctic blast. I know that was a solid week for me, because it lasted down here about, well, the most severe about 7 days, with temperatures in the low 20s to single digits. And all of my main pipes never froze up. Of course, I took extraordinary measures to keep that from happening. Yep. But I did have one happen, and that was my outside faucet. I only got one. But thankfully, by the grace of God, it didn't burst. And it wasn't it. I didn't have it all insulated up and covered up. Just where it was at the end of the line. And there was so much time we were under 20 in single digits. In the nighttime, it froze solid too. See, that would have been a bad start to 2023. And then we got through our medical crisis, life-threatening event. And then I thought, because it was really mild, and we had some really screwy temperatures in March and April. We had days in March that went up in the high 70s, even the low 80s, and then dropped back down into the 20s as well. And we saw that up and down all the way through March and into April. And then we saw the drought. It started out a little dry, then abnormally dry, and by the end of the year, growing season, you know, I was toting water and using both hoses, which are, you know, 150 feet long, to keep what little bit I had alive. And you know, in my area, because I've talked about it before, our water prices are high. And of course, if I've talked in this past year, our electric prices in Alabama are the second highest in the nation. And that don't make no sense. No, we have nuclear power, hydropower, which make up about half of all the power we produce. And then, of course, one of the most efficient means to generate power using fossil fuel is with natural gas. Of course, what happened in the winter of 2023? Well, just like in 2022, natural gas prices spiked way high. And a lot of that was brought about because Russia shut off natural gas supplies to Europe to try to freeze them out and get them to back off. So what'd we do? We shipped our natural gas to help them out. Yes, we did. And that caused our prices to go sky high. Of course, the Ukraine war still continues. And they still, if you read the mainstream media, article about food costs and shortages. Oh, that'll be thrown in there too. It's all because of Ukraine. That'll be the beginning part. Then they talk about the drought. The severe winter had an impact on winter wheat. Of course, that too got exaggerated, way out of context. Yes, it did. Because in the end, it didn't turn out to be so bad. I checked in on it many times. And we got plenty of wheat. And we're still exporting it now. Now, granted, there's one type of wheat that this year, harvest season, and that was our durum wheat, which is used to grow pasta, or not used to grow it. I wish I could grow pasta. But used to make it was 5% less than the year before. The most devastating year for durum wheat would have been 2021. I think it was down by 25%. So we had a good harvest in 2022, but then a less than good harvest in 2023. And I really believe this from looking into all these food shortages and seeing what all these wholesalers and retail companies and all the companies learned. All anew was when there's shortages, people don't care. They'll pay whatever price to get what they think is running out. And when I look all into this late at night, of course, I don't do many of those videos for all of you anymore because, I mean, they're not watched a lot. Now, if I come on with a video and say, oh, we're going to run out of wheat, we're going to have no bread, I'll get a ton of views. The same with rice. We were told the same thing. There'd be no rice. And there have been spot shortages. But you know, we never got even low on bread here. Maybe you did in your area. You'll let me know. And rice? We had rice every single time. We never got short. And of course, we always got corn. And as 2022 brought up the avian flu and insane egg prices, well, I found out early on it didn't have nothing to do with the avian flu. It had to do with corporate greed, and that was the final take on that. Of course, they're killing off a few million this year. Magically, it all sprung up again, and immediately our egg prices jumped. Not as much as 2022 into the early 2023. But it's hard to find out the truth. It's just like with electrical prices and now with egg, these companies that were once public, they took their insane profits, and I've seen this happening in many what were public, mostly public companies. They're all buying their stock back. Because see, Alabama Power did just that last year. They took all the billions they made off of raping us all in Alabama over extreme electrical prices and bought every last share of stock they had back from the public. So you know what they don't got to do? They no longer have to file an earnings report to the public or the SEC. So good luck finding out any financial data about a company when they do that. And I've seen that in many, many, many other companies that I've looked into. They're buying their stock back because they've learned a lesson too. Now with social media, there's so many of us that can dig on in and read that information, analyze it, and understand we're being taken advantage of too. This year in my mind has all been about profit taking and corporate greed. Long has come the time when companies care about their customers, let alone their employees, no matter what vision statement or crap they have in their prospectus or on their website. I've worked for corporations all my life. I've worked for one or two really great ones that cared a little, maybe not a lot. And I've worked for some that you were just like a machine. When you got slow, had an issue, or wore down, they didn't care. They just throw you to the ground, find another, and move on. Yes, they would. But yeah, we're still seeing food shortages. And I think those are manipulated. In fact, I know it to be true. If you remember, they said we'd be all out of tomatoes. And who forgets the potato shortage of 2022? But potatoes, even though we had an abundant harvest this year, and you can watch that on YouTube, like channels that do nothing but potatoes. Rocky Mountain Farmer. Woo! They grow thousands and thousands of acres of potatoes up in the Rockies. We got to climb back up out of here. So yeah, check them out. They had an amazing harvest. And so did all the other potato growers too. But still, our prices remain high. Ooh, that sun's getting low. Maybe we got a little time to ride a little more. Who knows? You know, and this year brought us another war. And that, of course, the Ukraine war still continues on. Now there's the war in Gaza between the Hamas and Israel. And in all reality, my heart bleeds for both sides because it's just so unnecessary to sacrifice the human lives. I just don't see the senselessness in war anymore. No, I don't. It just seems like a useless invention. Why do it? What have you got to gain? The cost to rebuild is insane. Yes, it is. And here again, even though the war in Gaza is extremely regional and very local to its area, it's spilled out all over the country. And now, to some extent, is affecting all of us too. It's affecting worldwide shipping, which will affect the prices of gas, natural gas, oil, everything that comes out of the Middle East. Yes, it will. That's how things are so global now, don't you know? Everything now is global. And that's what they say. If there's a shortage in one country, whether it's even here in the US of A, they'll say, oh, well, that's going to cause prices to rise. It seems like a general excuse to just take what little we got. Because, I mean, that's why they used the Ukraine war. The Gaza war, they said, would make oil and gas prices go sky high. Well, up to now, fortunately, they have not. At least we were spared that for at least a little while. So yeah, the sun's getting low, and we're getting close back to the house. It was just going to be a short ride, maybe to get you to reflect and do a year in review in your life. And if you made it here to the end of 2023, well, in my mind, that's a victory. I'll say it for me. Was it 2023 the year that I really hoped it would be and wanted it to? Well, in some ways it was. And in some ways, obviously, it was not. Because of what happened in April, I just couldn't get a whole lot done. And even though I may look like it on camera, like I'm all spry and spiffy, well, You only see the best of my days. I have my bad days, my down days, and I have my good days too. And I'm sure it's that way in all your lives as well. But hey, I'm going to tell you right now that I have the best of days now because I know all of you. Yes, I do. And we got some neighbor kids walking around enjoying this nice day out too. Hey, we're back at the house. Let's get out and chat some more too. Woo, the kitty crew's all waiting on us. Wondering where Papa went to. Yeah, because as the sun sets, they know, see old Spooky licking his lips? He knows it's Sunday. And what does that mean? Ho, ho, ho. It's tuna time. They always get tuna on Sunday. Yeah, they're my little furry kids. And I love them to death. As you can see, they were waiting for Papa to get back. So hey, let's hop out and chat a minute more on the front porch so I can wish you all a happy and glorious 2024. Ooh, the leaves are covering the ground. I like this time of year. I know some people ain't too much on the leaves on the grass, but I do. Come spring, the mower back will suck them all up and they'll become great garden mulch too. Yes, they will. Yeah, the birdies, they're hungry. They need that extra energy and all that seed. It's peaceful now. Well, except for the car. And as you see, the sun's setting. And maybe that's an appropriate way. Sit down and chat a minute more as the sun sets on 2023. But the sun, see, that's something else you gotta always remember. The sun will rise tomorrow. See, it's up to all of us whether it will rise in our heart and soul. So, friend and family, appreciate you taking a little ride with me as we close out 2023 and as I look forward to 2024. Now I've got something in this coming week that I got to deal with, and that may shape my life yet again in the coming new year. Yeah, I got my biopsy on this Thursday, the 4th. My son's picking me up. He'll drive me to Jackson. He'll be there with me, and then he'll drive me home. Yep. Thankfully, I have a son and a daughter that I can depend on. And I love them so much for what they do. But like I said, as we were slowly turning in, all of you have made my life so much better from knowing you. And you don't ever have to send a thing. But hey, for those of you who do, like some of the Christmas presents I got, I'm always thankful for every last one. I really, truly am. In fact, I'll be enjoying some of them for my Christmas Eve, albeit small, celebration. No, one of them there hoochie boards, charcuterie boards. Yeah. The kitty crew calls them the chatty hoochie board. Yeah, we're going to make up a small one. Nothing too fancy. Just some sliced cheese, some sliced luncheon meats, and maybe some celery sticks, carrot sticks, black olives, and green ones too. It'll be enough for me to ring in the new year. So yeah, just a little reflection over a few major events that happened in 2023, and there's so many more. And I have found, as I've gotten older, to just let them flow on. I mean, once again, I learned that you can take a walk and it can change your entire life. You don't got to wait on a nuclear bomb. Yeah, sometimes we neglect the small things because we're so focused on the large. And that's also true with appreciating the little things, the smaller things in life. A short walk, a talk with a friend, a phone call from our children, or friends too. And remember that when they don't call you, you can always reach out and call them back too. Sometimes that's not possible because you may have tried. Yep, you can only beat an issue so far, and sometimes you got to put it away. I don't make plans anymore. Well, I make them, but they're not written in stone. If I make them, I make them. If I don't, I'm thinking maybe, with God's grace, there'll be another day to make those plans come about. So yeah, give me your thoughts on what impacted your life the most in 2023. That's really what this was all about. To have me thinking about the things that I've come through in 2023, and that's the important part. I came through. What of those things really impacted my life? And I watch social media too. You see me on other channels in the comments below their videos, so you know I'm there with you in some of them. But over time I've learned that more of that is about clicks and views than about reality in my life. Yeah, and I've took it to extremes at times too. In retrospect, I've regretted some of that and wish I hadn't. But in a way, now in my retirement, it's making it a little bit easier too. So hey, there's always pluses or minuses to the decisions we make and how it will impact the next day, the next week, the coming month or year. So I've got to see how my health holds out in this new condition we got to find out about. How will it impact me? What will I have to do? But I'm not going to sit there and look at the 2024, the year to come, with dread. I'm going to look at it with hope. Not only the hope for me, but the hope for all of you that your year, 2024, is better than the one we just came through. Isn't that always should be our hope? Because I don't think having a new year ease ball drop resets everything, because we all know it don't. Like many say, it's just another year. Tomorrow will be another day. But with that said, that another day gives us a chance to make it better. And every day we're here, we get another chance to wake up and make a better day too. So hey, it's getting chilly and the light's getting low. Let me know what your thoughts are and how you think and what your predictions are for the 2024 year ahead. Yeah, and keep it nice and keep it civil. You know what I mean. And I want to wish you all the happiest, healthiest new year in 2024. May God bless you all throughout the year. And also remember, you're a part of this community here, so you're never truly alone. You can always watch a video, put it in a comment, ask a question. I try to catch all of them. And I'll be there for you if I can, because you've been here for me. And I would like to say, I hope in some small way, I've made these last 6 years, as well as this one past, a little better in some small way. So hey, this little old man's starting to get shivering because the temperature's falling fast. And plus the kitty crew is all spread out waiting on their tuna to come. So y'all have a blessed coming year. Remember to stay safe, stay warm, do the best you can, whether you got a little bit or a lot. May God bless you all as you bless those in your lives. Goodbye for now as we end 2023. Okay, guys. Yep. Come on. Cleo. Spooky, you're halfway out there. Speedy, get your youngin' back on off that road. It's warm, Papa. The sun's going down. I don't care what you say. Get back in the yard. Come on, Spooky. You want tuna? You better run. You just don't run, do you, Spooky? You my big boy. Do y'all want to say Happy New Year? Happy New Year to you. Well, that's about as good as they're going to do. Later, all. I see you move your head. Let's go in the house and call this done. Hey, we got to get ready for 2024. Later, all.